Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. So, we have a few things to cover today, talking about the last literal 2 days in the market have been, kind of on and off. It's been weird seeing a bunch of different stuff. So, one of the first things I want to talk about and cover is KRC20s. So, we had the KRC20 launch literally yesterday around 10 a.m. And the launch was not very impressive, to be honest. It's great that they implemented this, but literally from the time when KRC20s actually went live, to maybe within an hour, 2 hours of people trying to mint them, there were a lot of errors on just the Kaspa network itself. I don't know exactly what errors it was. I was watching it the whole time, but aside from, major errors in the back end, for users, it's kind of tough certain pairs or, well, currencies to be minting, stuff like that. Sometimes the wallet wasn't working. Just a couple of bugs with certain things that I noticed. One of the sites that lists basically every token that was listed was a site called Casplex. And as of right now, I don't think this is an error on them. It might be an error of my computer specifically right now. But casplex.org, this site is listed all of the tokens that were, just listed on mainnet. And, one of the main things that I was looking for was trying to find like the first legitimate, fair launched token on KRC20. And Casplex here had the timestamps, and from what I remember, because this hasn't been working for me for a while now, from what I remember, there was a token called Kaspi, Kaspi. It looks like it was minted at around 10:05 or created at 10:05. That was one of the earliest tokens that I personally found from when KRC20s launched. But I could be completely wrong on that. Through my research and due diligence yesterday, that's what I found after just watching it for hours. Scouring, kind of Twitter, asking around. But, I guess as of right now, the KRC20 mint, definitely a lot of people I feel like were disappointed with. And, again, it's when you're dealing with a brand new technology like this, or just a brand new, protocol on top of a blockchain like a Kaspa, which is similar in a sense to Bitcoin, where, smart contracts and stuff like that, they're normally not even supposed to work, right? But the way that they're implementing it, it gives them that ability to do certain functionalities, which is why the tokens, the way you mint, buy, sell, that's why it's a lot differently than, you just buying it on a regular crypto exchange. But I feel like many people don't understand that. And then also the other fact, in which I've mentioned in multiple videos, is the fact that, when you have such a brand new technology as well, or a brand new protocol, I don't think that people were able to sell their tokens in a sense because there is no actual third-party platform yet that supports the trading, the buying and selling of KRC20s yet. And I've said this before, it is very similar to BRC20s. I minted a lot of good projects. I got into a lot of good BRC20s very, very early in 2023. And some of them I minted, and for a little while, there was maybe one platform, and it was like using a 1987 computer to try and buy and sell with different people, But obviously over the last 6 months to a year with BRC20s, we got Unisat, all these different wallets, all these different, places to actually buy and sell. It's going to be the same thing with the KRC20 network or the Kaspa network, right? So, with minting a lot of these tokens as well, that's what mainly I was watching for, but there really wasn't anything that stood out to me. The other fact that I want to go into is, the idea that a lot of these tokens they have a very high supply pre-mined. So what that means is if you have a coin that, let's say, obviously when you mint a token, there's 100% allocation, supposedly, but when it comes to, let's say, a regular coin with tokenomics, you want to keep 20% for, your team, 10% for marketing, 5% for seed investors, this and that. With tokenomics, you have, a set, you can see pie charts a lot, a set amount of percent of that token going towards different specific things, right? But with KRC20s, they kind of do it in a sense where if you allow a pre-mine, what that means is that it pre-mines, let's say 50% of your token is basically allocated into one wallet right when the token goes live. So when you're about to mint these tokens, only 50% of the supply is actually going to be out to the public because 50% of it has been held up in that pre-mine. And what that means as well from an investor standpoint, especially if the team is not specific in what they're doing with that allocation, is basically what that means is if it's some random person creating, the next major meme coin, but they withheld 40% of the supply, what that means is they hold 40% of the supply in their one wallet. They're letting 60% of that supply mint out to the public. So they basically own 40% of the supply of the token, right? And what that means is if price really shoots up and grows, they can dump literally half the tokens on every single person that is invested in it, right? So that to me is a huge, huge red flag for a lot of projects. And I'm not going to name a bunch here, but I'd say most projects, if not all of them that I saw, had a major pre-mine to them. And that, like I said, major red flag, because that's not a fair launch. A fair launch is when it is 100% open to the public. Maybe 1%, a couple percent is withheld. But obviously I did not see that, there were a couple tokens that had 60% pre-mine, basically saying the team or whoever owns the wallet holds 60% of the supply. Another one at 95. It's like some of these numbers are just crazy, but again, it's different though if you know the team and you know what they're doing with that allocation. If they're clear about it, that's a completely different story, right? But as far as that's what I wanted to cover today, mainly just with KRC20s. And as of right now, it's just the network has just been going down a little bit in a sense. And I just expect over the next few days, maybe a week or two, I think the hype is going to slow down because of all of this. And from that, I think it's going to be, probably there's going to be more development over time, and I think this is going to be almost like a catalyst, though, for the long-term bullishness of KRC20. I personally don't care that they've had errors or anything like that. It's honestly very expected for a new meta protocol like this. But I think, again, as time goes on, it's going to be a great opportunity to start looking at good communities that are building now. Once the tokens are now actually out, as long as they don't have pre-mines like crazy, some of the newer ones that are actually going to be created right now are going to be gems, in my opinion, for the long term, especially if you can mint a bunch of them. If you can mint a bunch, that's where you're going to actually catch literal multi 100x's, sometimes even maybe 1000x on some of these tokens, right? It's got to be the right one. I'm not saying any token you mint is going to do that, but if you mint the right tokens, now within the next few days, weeks, just watching, staying on top of it, that's how you're going to make some crazy returns long term, right? That's also the risk, though, in being so early to a protocol like this. So outside of that, that's what I wanted to cover in today's video with KRC20s. Like I said, the launch was kind of shaky, but I'm going to be dropping some more stuff on meme coins, AI, later this week. Just wanted a quick update with some of this stuff. But for now, I personally think it's definitely to stay bullish on Kaspa, KRC20s rather. in a sense where I think it's bullish that it's down. You know, get the hype off of KRC20s finally, and then bring in people that are actually interested in it. Once the gems are actually found and acquired by the smart people, you know, a lot of people, once the attention starts to flow back into KRC20s, you know, that's when everyone's going to be jumping in, right? Because there will be another hype phase for these at some point, you know, because again, it just launched. Might take a week, might take 2-3 months. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes 3, 4, 5 months from now. Unless Bitcoin and ETH break new highs in the next month or two, then maybe these will take off very quickly, but I give it, like I said, I mean, probably not a week, like I said, but definitely within a month to maybe 3 or 4 months is going to be a lot of development now in Kaspa, whether it's utility projects or meme coins. So now when the hype is starting to die, when you think it's over, when you think, oh, the launch is dumb, like, let's move on. No. This is going to be the time now. Keep this on your radar right now over the next 3 weeks, over the next month, and stay focused on finding some of these, because that's where the gems will come from, those great returns. Because then when everyone really thinks it's dead, that's usually going to be the bottom, and then from there it's literally going to be up only into the rest of the bull run, right? So that's how I look at it right now with KRC20s. So outside of that, that's what I got for you guys today, and I appreciate you guys watching, so thanks.